If California legalizes the adult use of cannabis on Election Day, marijuana is going to be treated publicly in a whole new way.
Proposition 64, I hope, will make our communities safer. We're taking something out of the criminal justice system and putting it in the domain of regulation, in the domain of public health, in the domain of public policy that does not lead to locking people up and throwing away the keys.
If we move towards recreational, we start looking at, okay, well, what does that mean in terms of disrupting the illicit market? And I think that we can, right? I think that if you remove friction and you have high quality and really safe products at competitive pricing and you deliver some sort of convenience, you know, our goal is to really disrupt that $100 billion illicit market.
Proposition 64 will generate close to $1 billion of tax revenue from the sale of cannabis each year.
You know, I was involved in a commission that studied marijuana legalization, and one of the questions was, what should the tax resources that are generated by legalization be used for? One of the things that I really like about Proposition 64 is that it uses the tax revenue for goals that are related to legalization. So for example, a lot of the money will go to provide services to youth, both to prevent the use of marijuana, but also to provide services to those young people who are abusing it. I think that's a good use of the tax dollars.
The money generated by cannabis taxes in California will go to fund marijuana research, environmental protection, and youth prevention programs.
Proposition 64 is going to pass, and just like in Colorado, guess what, folks? The sky didn't fall in. Guess what, folks? Traffic fatalities are down. Guess what, folks? Teenagers aren't using marijuana as much as they did before. And guess what, folks? We have tax money where we can build new schools.
Tax revenues will also go to help police develop a more reliable test to detect people driving under the influence of cannabis. However, many in law enforcement are still against Proposition 64.
The prison guards are not happy. Police is not happy because they're going to lose an income. The people who are opposed to it profit most from keeping the status quo.
I am not getting the sense as of yet that the law enforcement will be as vociferous against this as they were in 2010, which they were very strongly out against it. And even if they were, they're not going to have a whole ton of money out of this.
As of early September, Proposition 64 advocates raised over $11.7 million, while groups opposing 64 raised only $229,000.
In my experience, and looking at what Proposition 64 puts out there, I would say to all the moms in Bakersfield to Fresno, your children are going to be safer.
I think there's a couple ways of looking at what the future holds for marijuana if this measure passes. The first is that the simple possession of marijuana and the legal sales will be regulated. And so people can live their lives without fear of prosecution by our local or state police. That'll have a dramatic effect.
For more, visit the California Cannabis Project on Facebook and share this video.